By now, you know the state's going broke, but you probably didn't know they're spending $250 million to construct a new office building in Olympia. On your dime. This is Talk Back, and I'm Amber Gunn. The State Department of Information Services is getting 394,000 square feet of space in its new agency headquarters, which will be constructed for the bargain price of $255 million. Amazingly, that works out to almost $650 per square foot. That fact itself is an unbelievable feat, considering that a few years ago, near the height of the real estate boom, the Bellevue Towers were sold for a record $575 per square foot. The purchase price for the Bellevue Towers was considered mind-boggling, their words, not mine, at the time by local real estate brokers. And yet, we're talking about top-of-the-line, top-of-the-market, prime real estate in the most expensive city in Washington. And our government manages to not only outspend them outright, but to do it in a depressed market when office vacancy rates in downtown Seattle are higher than they have been in decades. There are literally millions of square feet of downtown office space available for lease at less than $30 per square foot. So why in the heck are they not getting the best deal for taxpayers? But they're getting what appears to be the worst, most expensive deal possible. Mostly, this comes down to what I call the jobs at any cost philosophy. You see, many politicians believe that job creation, at whatever price, is the ultimate role of government. They're able to sleep at night because they believe that spending $650 a square foot for office space is a good thing because of all the wonderful living wage jobs they're creating. The reality, of course, is that money doesn't manifest itself as manna from heaven. Somebody has to pay for all those jobs. And since government doesn't have any of its own money, that someone is you and that someone is me. Government can't create jobs. It can only take money from the private sector to pay for priorities that politicians consider more important. They've forgotten that jobs are a cost, not a benefit, as anyone who has ever hired a plumber or a babysitter or any other type of contractor knows. The wages that you pay for a job are the price of getting the product you want. If that weren't the case, then why wouldn't we just ban heavy equipment and ask people to build roads and office buildings with their bare hands? It certainly would create a lot more jobs. Or better yet, why don't we just pass a law ordering 20% of the state's office buildings to be bulldozed to the ground and rebuilt? Think of all the jobs that would be created, right? Wrong. Bulldozing and rebuilding office space destroys wealth. It burns human energy on things that we don't need, and that's called waste. Constructing a giant office building at more than 20 times the cost to rent the same space just for the sake of creating jobs, well, that destroys wealth too. But don't take my word for it. Over 200 economists agree that government action is not the way to create jobs and stimulate the economy. Now, imagine this. Imagine if legislators stopped using our money as their own personal job creation bank. Imagine if instead they prioritized the things that government was designed to do, like protecting us from force and fraud. Imagine if all the taxes that they extract from the private sector in order to create jobs were left with the private sector. Employers could hire more people or lower the price of their products to give consumers a better deal. The possibilities for creating wealth and productivity in the private sector are endless. But politicians aren't going to stop bankrupting us through jobs programs unless we, the voters, make them. So maybe you should talk with your elected officials. A prioritized government means less government, and less government means more freedom, which leads to greater innovation and prosperity for everyone. It's your choice. It's your country.